What they train Marines to do in leadership is to get to 80% knowledge and then choose and stop looking.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's really, really important because you're going to be paralyzed if you're trying to get to 100% knowledge.
You're never going to have
which is what
information.
the pure seeker mentality does. If you want to seek and get higher presence, you need to go to 80%.
Mm-hmm.
And now, how do you get to 80%? You get to 80% by saying, I'm pretty sure this is right.
Mm-hmm.
And this is right enough that I'm going to turn my attention to another dimension on this. And that means if you're in love, you should get married.
Wow. Arthur Brooks, we meet again.
Nice to see you, Tim.
Nice to see you. Glad to see the vascularity in your arms is still visible even through the long sleeve shirt.
Yeah. Because every woman wants a vascular man.
I only take my cues from the internet.
Exactly. My wife every day, she says, I love you. You're so vascular.
Could really take this a lot of directions, but I'm going to take a hard left from vascularity and I'm going to try to pronounce Brahma Muhurta?
Brahma Muhurta.
Okay, Brahma Muhurta. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I want to offer some candy, much like maybe an ET, putting the Reese's pieces on the floor to lure ET out. I want to bring my listeners and diehards into the conversation with a morning routine. And we'll talk about evening routines at the end as bookmarks, and then we're going to dive into all sorts of stuff. But what is Brahma Muhurta, and could you describe your personal morning routine?
I do have a very strong and very disciplined morning routine. And I studied love and happiness. So it's not as if I'm, going deep into the physiology of actually how I can have the best amount of muscle mass and minimum amount of body fat.
Mm-hmm.
I want to have more love and happiness in my life, and it's not easy. Mm-hmm. So I'm a specialist in human happiness because it's hard for me. That's the first thing. I know everybody who does research on happiness in the psychology, behavioral science world, they're doing it for a reason.
Yeah.
It's sort of me search more than research.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that I've found is that discipline and an understanding of your own human physiology, the biology and neuroscience, is critical for actually becoming a happier person. So I have a morning routine that I dedicate to being both more productive and having higher well-being. Mm-hmm. So I'm managing mood because high negative affect is characteristic of my personality. And I also need to be really productive because the morning hours are when you're most productive, especially in creative stuff. Almost everybody experiences this. And that starts with what you just mentioned, which is called the Brahma Muhurta. And I've studied a lot in India. I go to India every year. I have spiritual teachers, but also I'm very interested in behavioral science in the Vedic tradition. They came to a lot of truths way before Western social science actually came upon this. And one of the ideas was Brahma Muhurta, which in Sanskrit means the creator's time. Now, a Muhurta is 48 minutes long. So 2 Muhurtas, the Brahma Muhurta is an hour and 36 minutes before dawn. And the whole idea, going back thousands of years, is you get up an hour and 36 minutes before dawn and you'll be more creative, more in touch with the divine, more productive, and happier. This was always the contention. So of course, it's been put to the test in modern behavioral science research. And sure enough, we don't know if it's 2 Muhurtas is the right number of Muhurtas, but the whole point is getting up before dawn has incredible impacts on productivity, focus, concentration, and happiness. If you're getting up when the sun is warm, you've lost the first battle. For mood management and productivity is what it comes down to. So my days always start before dawn. Now, I usually set the clock for 4:30 in the morning, which is a lot before dawn.
Who knew that Jocko Willink was such a fan of Vedic traditions? He also wakes up at 4:30. Anyway, please continue.
4:30 is a good time for a lot of different reasons. You try to retrofit your schedule to what you need to do for sure. And that's a long time before dawn in the winter and not that long before dawn in the summer. And our listeners in Helsinki are like, what do I do in July? I mean, okay, you have to tailor the routines to what you're doing. But it's very clear that this is good for productivity and very good for happiness. And then the most important thing is, what do you do right after that?
Yeah, what do you do?
I pick up heavy things to run around.
Okay.
So
what does it look like?
Well, the most important room in my house is the gym.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always had a good gym in my house, down in the basement of my house. Now, down in the basement of my house is also living one of my kids and his wife and their 2 sons. So I have to be real quiet.
You have to lift heavy things very quietly.
I can't be clanking around down there because so I don't want to wake up my grandchildren. But, I do, generally speaking, 2/3 resistance, 1/3 zone 2. Mm-hmm. But I tailor that to what my day is going to look like.